You're listening to the Straight Talk Podcast with your boy, Ricardo Montgomery, a.k.a. the voice of gospel radio. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. We appreciate you as always. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the podcast. We would love to have you get weekly shows, laugh a little bit, get a little bit of information, and just enjoy the podcast that's taking over the nation.
Come on, relax and just enjoy the show. We got you here on Straight Talk. Don't be lying, yes, you already know. We got you here on Straight Talk, yeah. We got you moving. Let us know how you doing. We keep it live right here on Straight Talk. Ricardo Montgomery.
Welcome back to the second hour of Straight Talk right here on 95.7 The Boss. In the studio with me is my beautiful, lovely wife with her new hairstyle. How you doing, babe?
I'm doing good.
In the studio with us, we also have Mr. Joseph Taylor and Gabriel Freeman. How y'all doing, man? Welcome to Straight Talk.
Good. Doing great. You didn't talk about my hair, but that's okay.
Well, you're not my lovely, beautiful wife.
That's okay.
My lack of hair.
Yeah, well, you know.
We're kind of
Yeah.
got the same thing
Yeah.
going on here a little bit.
But everybody, you guys know, everybody knows Joseph, Joe, and then everybody knows Gabe's, and these guys do some great work in the community. But we got the guru in here who's helped out a lot of local artists, and this show is always about local artists. We're about getting the word out. We got great musicians here, and Joe, man, you have done some work with some folks around the city, man. So just name off a few, man. Just, not to brag, but just name off a few folks that you have worked with here in the city.
A few. One of my all-time favorite singers is Millicent Crawford. Mm-hmm. She's over at Ambassadors Worship Center. She is we call it a queen of worship. When worship was starting to be new in our community, Millicent Crawford was already there. She was at Ambassadors, and they would go see Miles Monroe down in the Bahamas. And then we have Jerron Taylor, the Cross-Bearing Nation. Jerron Taylor, I remember when he first started to where he is now, and he just celebrated, I think it was 14 or 15 years.
Yeah.
I remember his first CD when, his first project and thing, and hats off to him. And then we have the Spiritual Sons, which is John Evans and the Evans family. Dwayne Robinson, Brian Robinson, Larry Evans, which we call Moses, which is John's brother, and LaRon Green. And then my son, actually, Joe Taylor Jr., plays for him, too, as a drummer. Quartet group, one of the hottest quartet, contemporary. They can do the traditional quartet. They can do they can do it all. And then you have people like Leland Mickles. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows Leland.
Yeah, we had his mom on last week.
His mom. So Leland is who's who iconic. You got Craig Franklin. You have Duke Riggs. Duke is actually one of my favorite guys because when you're in a pickle, between his equipment and my equipment, we have whatever you need. Mm-hmm. So Duke is really awesome. But Duke has really opened up the doors for a lot of people musically and getting them on the stages with everyone. And a lot of people don't know he helps out when they bring the big artists in through the city. My childhood friend name is Greg Lemons. A lot of people don't know him as Greg Lemons. They know him as Hot Boy, the DJ. DJ Hot Boy, which is
when he said Hot Boy, I got a buddy. Mm-hmm. I got a friend. I call him Hot Boy. And so when you said that, I was like, wait a minute, he know.
But he is one of the who's DJs. He actually teaches other people how to DJ. He actually teaches it. A lot of people don't know that. He rips up a lot of weddings. He rips up a lot of everything, actually. But he was one of the first guys that I seen on the ones and twos when Hitman Billy T, 106.9, when they started, he was actually the one making all their DJ rips and cuts for the commercials.
Nice.
So, yeah. And let's see, there's a legend I'm leaving at the end that really a lot of people don't know about. But you got Dolores Matthews. Dolores Matthews is one of the GMWA all-time iconic pianist musicians here. A lot of people don't know she does vocal lessons and things like that. One of my great organist friends is Steve Hawthorne. Steve Hawthorne is a backbone to a lot of local church music. when you need something traditionally or whatever, Steve Hawthorne can sit down. He studies a lot of Oscar Peterson, and he would sit there and just blow you out of the water. And it's like, wow. But then he can transfer to the organ. A lot of people cannot transfer back and forth. And then I know you talk about artists, but then you got Marky, Ananias Montague at Salem Baptist Church. Marky does the Joyful Noise concerts down at the Holland Center or the Steelhouse and things. Marky is well connected. So last year we was at Your Life, or 2 years ago, not this last one. But he brought in, we did a Rise Up, Let's Go. Bishop Eric Butler loves music. He's a musician himself. He's a pastor over at Joy.
I got to talk with both of them for that.
Oh, really?
Earlier this year.
Sweet. He brought in Cheryl Moffitt. She sings Encourage Yourself out of Donald Lawrence's singers, out of the Tri-Singer Singers. Brought her down, and I kept staring. I was like, and then outside I said, isn't that Cheryl? And I was like, nah. She went in Omaha, and she was just so nice, quiet. But then she started singing. I was like, I know that voice. That's it. So for the concert night, she sung a piece of Encourage Yourself. So
Wait, when was this?
This was 2 years ago. It was Rise Up, Let's Go. It was the first year, so that'd have been 2022.
Oh, that's when we.
We was here, but we were still young.
We didn't know about that.
Y'all some young pups.
Yeah,
so
we
Yeah,
still young
that's
in Omaha.
that's one of my favorite songs right there.
Oh yeah. And he says a lot of y'all don't know who it is because she tore that song up. And Marky just says y'all don't know who she is, but then he just brings her up. He goes, just give him a little, and she did it. Wow. And it was just amazing. So Mark,
just like the album.
Oh yes. Yeah. Oh yes, and Marky, he has some phenomenal musicians. His organ player, most of his stuff is Jairus Reed. Jairus is amazing, talented family. Young man that's a organist, a who's who. But then he has a Jacob Swanson, is like a music producer phenomenon. Makes stems and tracks for everything. He just sits around. He's a bass player. So then you got Jonathan Sanderson. I can't leave Jonathan out because my son would get me. But when my son was coming up, Jonathan Sanders.
And Jonathan's at Red Bridge, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then now he's becoming into the ministry work and thing. Very hilarious, down to earth guy though. So, but it's amazing because I had to mention all this because at one time they all were in the network together. Crossbear Nation Jerron has really worked with a lot of talented musicians, and by working with them, they all springboarded. Also, you have Jerron Devereaux, you got Will Thomas, and that's how I met Will Thomas. He was singing with Jerron, and I was like, shouldn't you have your own? He goes, actually, I do. It's right here. I was like, wow, phenomenal. And he just released another one not too long ago. Yeah. But then I don't consider myself an icon. I'm just Joe. But you have Bishop Roy Smith. He is called the singing janitor. And he was at Burke High, and he would sing through the hallways. You can actually YouTube this. And he's known because he sounds like Sam Cooke. And he sings A Change Is Gonna Come. So he's singing through the hallway, blah, blah, blah. And that's what helped the kids at Burke High School because they was like, well, where's the singing janitor at it? Well, the band teacher was like, he can really sing. So they actually did A Change Is Gonna Come and recorded on YouTube. And it has over like 1 million views. Wow. And Inside Edition seen it, and they actually interviewed him. I was actually a part of it. It was pretty cool. Another radio station, it was kind of funny because we needed somewhere that we could all be together. But at the time, I worked for Walgreens. So I was like, well, I'm the store manager. Hey, come out here, and we'll do it in the office. So we actually did the whole interview of my office at work. So then you have my father. So my father actually helped a lot of people in the city and the community. Nobody knows this. And he actually taught me how to play the drums. He taught me how to play the piano, the organ, and things like that. But then my friends would come over. So like LeWade Milliner of the Black Swan Theories that actually just released his fourth. I remember his first one called I Made It. Because I was like, if he can do a CD, I can do one too. And mine still ain't released yet. But he's out doing concerts and everything else. And I can remember us sitting in there in the living room. My dad was showing us these little couple chords that we didn't learn Between the Sheets by the Isley Brothers on. We didn't learn Blessed on. And we didn't learn Jesus Is Real by John P. Key using these chords that my father has taught us. And he always teaches like Twinkle. Well, he taught everybody Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star but me. And he was like, son, you're not ready. And I was like, okay. But now he has really blessed me. We have 4 generations of musicians in our family. So we just keep it going. So there's a lot of icon of musicians. Chad Stoner, you know, what can I say, right?
Right.
It's just Chad. And if you ever got to talk to Chad, I don't know if he's been on your show yet.
No, not yet.
Pastor Chad is one cool dude, and it's amazing. So that's how I met Mitch Town. Met Mitch Town, which is the jazz-influenced blues organist. So if you go down to Noma, which is Dana Murray, down on 24th, he has Noma down there, North Omaha Music and Arts. He brings in a lot of musicians. So... And then I have a good friend of mine named Bryce Dantzler. Bryce Dantzler is a saxophonist, and met him at a church. That young man is amazing. And he plays saxophone part. I would call him like, hey, I need a saxophone rip. Can you do this? He'll show up, in about 5 minutes be done. I'm like, how do you do that? Just amazing. So the Anjali and Timeless. Anjali is one of the hottest R&B groups. I have opportunity to work with the musicians and her on a few things, but it's just, I can go on and on about the talent that's in the city. Carol John Pierre.
You just hit us with so many names.
I know. I'm just sitting here like,
I got
wow.
plenty more.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I can tell. But see,
You
that's,
cannot tell us there's no talent in Omaha after hearing that.
Oh, no.
No.
There's-
Yeah, wow.
well, see, that's the beauty of Omaha, though, because we
Yeah.
have a lot going on here that needs to get out.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it is
It-
very
it's gotta get out the
unhidden,
wall.
but
It's-
it's here.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times people like, I'll use a Barry Dancer. Barry Dancer, I consider myself an okay musician, and he did not play the piano, but I can hear stuff and play it back to you. Well, he would just get off the piano, and then when I mess up because I don't know the song, he would come back and yell at me. But he was like, you can do it. And a lot of times you got these hidden gems. It's the hidden gems. Now, we get some people that want to be outspoken, and I'm going to compare it to a gangster movie. I hope I don't get in trouble for this. But what happens is you got the people that want to be the face. But the real person's the one in the back. So
Yeah, the quiet one. That's,
the quiet one. So like American Gangster, he didn't he didn't name it Frank Lucas's place. He named it something else. He said, you don't put your name on it because you draw too much attention. So you have a lot of these people in the back that just push these other people forward. And that's
and that's what Straight Talk's all about.
Yeah.
It's pushing them forward. No, I'm using that, so I hope y'all laugh if you're listening. But we're gonna talk to some music real quick.
Yeah.
Some of these local artists that we do have here in the city. Then we're gonna come back with Joe and Gabe, and we're gonna dive into, because last week my wife and I, we talked about what we're gonna do this week was Apple put out their top 10 greatest albums of all time. So we did ours, and we're gonna do the top 10 best gospel albums of all time. This is grossing though, because I mean gospel music is subjective. Anybody, I mean, just like reading the Bible, like well, your rendition and my rendition is different. But, but we're gonna talk about the grossing albums of all time, and then we're gonna dive a little bit more into what we were just talking about with our local artists. So we're gonna take a quick break, toss to some music, come right back with Joe and Gabe right here on Straight Talk. We'll be right back right after this.
Hey, y'all, this is Brian Courtney Wilson, and you are listening to Straight Talk with Ricardo Montgomery.
That was David Newsom's Miracle. Joe, welcome back to Straight Talk for everybody listening here in the second hour, right here on 95.7 The Boss. And I got my beautiful wife in here, man. I'm so happy to have you.
I'm so happy to be here.
No, well, you're supposed to bring it back to me.
Oh.
Like, I'm so happy to be with you. Like, we got guests in the studio. I got to make me look good. I'm happy to be here on the radio. I don't care about you. Folks going to church and that's a shame. That woman don't care about that man. And
I've
we
been
here
over here. Hey, I've been listening. Like, so, got some folks in here just dropping some gems of some talent.
Yeah, Joe been in here dropping some names, and she's sitting there. What got her? I'm gonna tell you, Joe. What got her?
Up. Yeah.
When you brought up "Encourage Yourself," when you brought that, because that's her favorite song. So when you said that, I seen a wave. Like how in church
Like,
they wave their hand,
Yeah.
throw their head down. That pastor done said
Yeah.
the word, yes, Lord.
Lucy wasn't the Baptist figure, and she gets up and walks out.
Exactly. She may shout her way out of it. May go Kojic on this and shit. Take about 3 laps,
That's all
then
you
go
need,
out.
right? And she's gone.
But we're in there having a good time, man, with Joe Taylor and Gabe. Gabe, you do music too, so I don't want to leave you out. Joe dropped a whole bunch of names and stuff, and we came back from David Newsom's song "Miracle," and
Funniest
I know
thing
you know
about
David too.
Funniest thing about David Newsom and Miracle, I actually helped record. We did a collaboration, so it was actually a lot of that was done in the studio, my studio, and I had to sit there. And we were actually going back and forth with his engineer because he was in the Bahamas. So shout out to James Hepburn.
Sweet. So, Gabe, let's get to you, man, real quick. Then
Yes,
we're going to
sir.
dive into this other thing here. So, tell me about a little bit about your music background. I mean, I know you do music. So, tell us a little bit about you.
Yes. I do a lot of music for churches, for the performing arts kind of atmosphere here in Omaha. And so it's really cool to see the momentum that Omaha has. And, it's known for its companies. It's now athletes coming out of Omaha. And now we're starting to see performing arts, all of the amazing musicians that are here. And I love seeing that momentum that you guys are having, to see them get more publicity, get their name out there, because there are a lot of amazing musicians here. My music background is kind of more in the classical scene. So I'm playing for different musicals, subbing in for different things at the Orpheum, or more in the contemporary music, contemporary worship side of things. And so grew up in that church setting. And so usually I'm just the worship leader on an acoustic guitar or electric guitar. But I really like being the networker. And so seeing where people strengths are, and seeing, hey, these guys would just, hit it off. And so I'm just blessed to be here. Happy to know Joseph Taylor as my associate.
My friends call me Joe.
About Joe Taylor, okay. But yeah, I was just like, okay, when I met you at a networking event, I said, oh my goodness, I need to get you connected to Joe. I knew it was meant to be, and that's probably why I was at that networking event and why you were at that networking event. So, I love seeing local musicians, especially and gospel musicians, get more out there.
Rise up.
The gospel music scene is right there on the cusp of something great. I feel like here in Omaha. I mean, but it's funny because I'm gonna take you back to if you just tuning in with us. I got Mr. Joe Taylor and Gabe Freeman in the studio with us on Straight Talk. Joe mentioned earlier like the gangster movie. Gabe just presented himself as that gangster. He's just a guy in the background.
He's just a guy in the back.
Just moving, just punching fingers, like just moving people around. Oh, you need to meet this person, man. Let's set this meeting up, and then we'll go from there. See how well you do with that. Then we'll see how far you can go in the organization.
We start you as a driver.
Right, start you off as a driver. You don't know nothing. You don't need to know nothing. But we also have this top 10. We mentioned the music. So we got this top 10 gospel albums all time, grossing albums all time. So at number 1, they have The Preacher's Wife soundtrack. Now, I know it's Whitney Houston. And the one song I know on there that's a really hit song is her song, I Go to the Rock. Which, if you ever heard it, oh my God, it's great. Because it's with the Chicago Mass Choir.
Right.
Awesome song. You may not, I don't know if you ever heard it, but we played it on Straight Talk. And with us going into June, which is Music History Month, it's a great time to really like open this up and have these discussions. But then number 2 on this list is the Wow series 1998. Wow, that's gospel. How many of us have grew up on Wow, that's gospel?
Well,
I know I did.
95 to whenever you stop listening to it.
I don't think some of us have stopped. No confession there. But the funniest thing is about The Preacher's Wife. A lot of musicians in Omaha, some of us could read music like Gabe. and some of us has had the gift, and we can just listen to it. The funniest part about The Preacher's Wife, if you wanted to play that, you actually probably had to read it. Because, like, I Love the Lord, He Heard My Cry in there, and how it's beautiful. Richard Smallwood actually wrote the song, but there's another song called Joy to the World in there. Like Imagine a King. Those, the chords and the beauty of it, you would really either have to be really dynamic ear for it, or just go buy the book for $16.95 back then. And then seem like a genius on Sunday mornings, like, yeah, you can't play this, but yeah. So, Wild 98?
Wild 98. That's a list of, it was like, what, 30 songs on there or so?
Bring back the choirs of the church. Only if you want to have a reunion choir, go to Wild 98.
And just sit back.
And go for it. And I guarantee you, Stir Up the Gift, I believe Yolanda's Adams, The Battle's Not Yours, all those songs. If you need to get through something, go just pop in Wild 98. Your number will come up sometime.
Yeah. Oh, it will come up?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You know, back in the 90s, you know, choirs, man, you had to really work out to be in a choir. Like, you had to have like a six-pack. You couldn't be up there like...
Yeah.
Like, you had to really... Because you not only did you sing, you did a whole lot of moving, too.
You got to move. You got to off clap. You got to know your ones and twos.
Yeah, you got to know them. Especially when the director... You ever had those directors that...
Yeah.
Joe's probably one of those directors that really felt it.
Oh, yes.
You'd hit the spirit, and they just be moving on. Like, we didn't prepare for this.
Hey, you must have seen me in action before. There's about three crazies still alive in Omaha. Joe Taylor, Bernard Turnbull Jr., which call Nardo at Mount Calvary, and Ray Daniel RV over at Mount Nebo. Crazy choir directing right there.
That's it.
You're going to have an
the
exercise.
Sopranos don't know. You're like,
We make up stuff on the fly because it was in our head. It's like that song you made up on Sunday morning coming to church.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
You better be woke on that Sunday morning. You better be ready to pay attention.
Best be ready.
And that's when it was safe to throw things.
Oh! Maddie, was it Maddie?
So when that came out, we all started laughing at that scene when she took off her shoe and threw it. Because we've been there. We've been there.
You better sing it right.
Or play it right.
Mm-hmm. So, no, but here's the classic ones on there. Number 7, they got it at number 7 right now. You can go vote on this site. Amazing Grace, which was Aretha Franklin's live album, which the who's who at that time when she recorded it was in the studio. Like, everybody. I mean, her dad was there. This is James Cleveland was in the house. I mean, like, this album was the gospel album back in this, was it 70s when it was recorded? 72.
72.
This was the album.
Funniest thing is, last year for Christmas, my mom bought us all the CD. I just looked and was like, well, we don't use CDs no more. I don't even know where to put it, but yeah. So that's how popular it is still. That it's for our older generation.
Yeah, it is. And you know, with this top 10, and we go to all the lists a little later in the third hour. But what I want to get to is, at one point, all these people were just local artists, and they just need somebody to like just say, "Hey, you're ready."
Right.
Why, in your opinion, you've been around a lot, Joe, why do you think it's so hard for us to get that attention, to get that one person to kind of, or that producer that's sitting out there looking for talent to come look at Omaha?
Well, that's a loaded question. A lot of times people say that I have to be in a big city. I got to be in Atlanta, I got to be in New York, I got to be in California. If I'm going to make it, country music, where you got to go to make it in country.
Yeah,
I guess to Nashville, right? Well, if you look at anything geography, where's Nebraska located at? It's in the middle of the United States. We'll just pass through. There used to be a thing called the Chitlin Circuit, right? So Detroit, Chicago, and then they would go on down to Mississippi, right? And
Yep.
And so what happens is, and a lot of people don't know, but Detroit and Chicago, they fight back and forth because you had the Clark sisters, James Cleveland's out of Detroit, Motown's out of Detroit. So they have their sound, they have their thing. Thomas Whitfield, I Should Wear a Crown and all, came out of Detroit. Then you have Chicago, brought a different spin to it. So sometimes they'd be like, oh, you from Chicago, oh, you got that Detroit sound, oh, you playing like New York because you got James Hall. But then you get Nebraska. Where does people, because of Offutt Air Force Base, a lot of people migrate because of the Army.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of hidden talent here, but sometimes we just get offended or nobody's noticing us. So I got to do something different. So now when a producer shows up, is it really a producer? That would be my question.
Well, I'm just saying someone with some. I mean, because I still struggle with that James Cleveland came here. They did the song at Salem.
Salem Baptist Church recorded the whole city.
City.
Don't feel no waste time.
And that song was the top song in that time frame. But then I'm like, wow. Normally when you have a hit, the producers from everywhere are coming to wherever it is,
Right.
And they're looking for the follow up in that hit,
Right.
Kind of like you said, like Will Thomas was with Crossbear Nation. You're like, hey, listen to that. You need your own. Boom. Now Will Thomas is doing some solo work.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. Like that one person. It's got to be, and it may not be that one person, but it could just be the way Lord works, because there's so many people here. I mean, like Jerron's new song, "I Got Away," is now recorded by, Pastor Mike
Right.
Jr. You know, now they're out on tour with the "I Got Away" tour.
Right.
I'm like, well, that originated here in Omaha.
Right. And, Jerron has done a lot of things. So the secret that people don't know, Jerron would actually go down to Texas and be a part of big worship scenes. And there'll be a lot of people that will want him to do things. We just got to get behind and support. I really believe if we support and get one, they're going to come back and they're going to pull the rest. And that's one thing that I can appreciate about Omaha, because one of us got to make it. And we got to encourage. But then don't get jealous. No man's an island.
Yeah.
True.
They say there's no I in team, only in Apple products. But so us Apple users got to get together. But the thing is, it's really about us just working together. And if we can support Timeout Chicken when it reopened, and we can sit there for 8 hours just for a piece of chicken. When Jib's Rib Haven reopened up, and we can sit there for an hour just to get one piece of rib. Why can't we do this to support our gospel community, our network community? They're Baptist, so they're Kojic, well, they're AME, they're Methodist. Joe Taylor actually played on one Sunday at 4 different services. I played at a Presbyterian church, Dundee Presbyterian. We did My Soul's Been Anchored. That's the funniest thing. And funniest thing, they didn't clap. They didn't clap at all. And I was like, man, I've never seen this happen before. And so they told me when they really love something, they don't clap. Well, I'm not used to that because the environment I'm from, the first note, the first bar, everybody's ready, and they waiting on it, right? And so my 11 o'clock service, no, it was the 10 o'clock service. I was at Clare Memorial Methodist Church playing, and everybody's, yep, they're in there, you hear a whoo, and I was like, all right, that's about right. And then 11 o'clock at Mount Calvary, I'm like, I already know it's going to go down there. And that's home. I already know it's going to work. So then we had this 3:30 service. And I was like, and I said, hey, and I had an experiment. And as soon as we got over to Kojikville, guess what happened? They started shouting, though. But it's the same song, but then afterwards, don't be a part of this group. Don't associate yourself with this. No, let's all work together. Mm-hmm. And as long as we can work together, that's what matters. If I went to Gabriel's church, I'd be like, hey, Gabe, you're the music. What do we do? We might add a little bit of hot sauce and spice to it. Don't worry about that. But it's really about Omaha just needs to come together and work together. If one person makes it, don't try to undercut them and do these things or say something negative. Just work with them.
Right, I agree with that, and I think that's the thing that I love about doing this show. Mm-hmm. It's about bringing all the music together in one location and really pushing everything that's going on. Because if one place is doing it, then it'd be more acceptable.
Oh yes.
Like the denomination really don't matter. We all serving the same God. It's not like it's going to be a Kojic heaven or
right.
We're not picking on the Kojics, but it's not going to be a Baptist heaven. It's not going to be a Lutheran heaven.
Right.
It's not. Or the joke I like to say. Is that Jesus is not going to come in there and say, okay, look, it's Sunday, so all you Catholic folks, it's y'all day.
Right.
Do your thing. Monday, all you Baptist folks, it's your day. Do your thing. It's not going to be like
it's
that.
Not a conference, right?
No, it's not.
It's not Omaha's night.
Exactly.
Wednesday, Chicago. Orlando's on Saturday.
Yeah. Just break it down. Like, I mean, you got forever, so we can break this thing down. But no, I want all the worship.
And that's the thing. I remember I was talking to somebody, and they said, well, because I grew up at Mount Calvary Community Church. It's a spiritual church. So a lot of people would be like, is it Baptist? Is it Church of God in Christ? I'd be like, spiritual. They say, what's that? I was like, well, we believe in the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, just like, most people. We have an altar. We have some acolytes, some altar workers. They said, well, you're Catholic now. I said, well, it's about being a spirit. It comes from John when it says those are, God is a spirit, and those that worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. So we do things because of our heart and our emotion and how we feel. And that's what's carried Mount Calvary. Mount Calvary has had a great source of music ministry and very well established music ministry, and it's been around 90 plus years.
Wow.
And they have done a lot of things in the community and stuff. So, but it's amazing to me when I see younger, I'm talking 9, 10, 11-year-olds getting up on these instruments. And I'm like, and I also be like, hey, show me what you just did. And they will. And it's a young man I'm working with now. His name is Jordan Gentry. And he's over at Grace Tabernacle. Young man just took off. I think he's 13 or 14 now. And we played an actual installation service last Sunday at his church. And I told him, I said, look here, young man. I said, you're the musician here. Don't let nobody tell you or don't play because this is your church. I said, when they sit down, you sit down with them and you ask questions. And I think if we just get behind our people, that's what's going to help as well. So just to push our culture in the city, in Omaha, to another level, because we got some mean people coming up.
Yeah, we do. And right now we're going to play some more of these mean people. So we're going to take a quick local circuit right here with my man Will Thomas right here on Straight Talk. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to the third hour of Straight Talk right here on the 95.7 The Boss. So during a commercial break, Joe and my wife was having a discussion here. So let's just get y'all to that discussion. Go ahead and let's bring them into what we was talking about during the breaks.
Yeah, so we were having the discussion. I was hearing a lot about our North Omaha talents and a lot of the musicians, that are in the churches that are predominantly over in North Omaha. And I was just wondering, is there ever in a time whenever we take some of those talents and are they used in like different parts of Omaha? Because I know Omaha has it's the North Omaha and the South Omaha, East Omaha, and then West Omaha, and it's, kind of, separated. But yeah. Yeah,
so it's actually interesting that you would say that because a lot of us North Omaha musicians, we do travel outside of North Omaha. So you have we actually travel outside of our boundaries. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times Kojic churches, Kojic musicians only stay in the Kojic. But now we're playing in actually the Methodist churches, a Presbyterian church. I know Bellevue. We travel over to Bellevue now to the Christian worship centers. I have been personally invited to play at UNO for the multicultural affairs. And that's called commercial. Like playing piano at Weimar. And we are now crossing into not just different avenues of church, but field of commercial work as well. God has really blessed North Omaha with talents, and we do share it. I'm actually a part of the Omaha Music Union, but I learned something. North Omaha, when the union is a musicians union here, and it's two of them, because back in the 60s and 50s, Preston Love Sr., Duke Ellington, and all those guys were here, and on Dreamland Ballroom on 24th and Lake. And what happened is that was the musicians union. It was the first union here, but then it after the music scene kind of left that area, the jazz field and all that, the West Omaha picked up their musician union. But then they said you can't have two unions in the same state. So they are in the same city, so they had to marry them together. So you do have a musicians union. So we do get to travel outside. And a lot of us do play for Presbyterians. But there's a few things. There's a couple catches.
Uh-huh.
You have to know how to read music.
Oh.
Because outside of North Omaha, the feeling and emotion is still there. But you actually have to know what's on that piece of paper because they do everything by the book. Can I say that safely, Gabriel?
Yeah, very liturgical.
Yeah. So if you was at the Omaha Symphony playing and that moment of praise came, it didn't come.
You gotta know how to quiet that down.
You got to quiet it down. You might be feeling it, but if it's not on there. So now when you get out to I had an opportunity to be a part of a few productions and see it at West Side Church out off of Dodge, right? And when you see it, I'm the guy that goes ask questions because I want to be invited. I want to be invited because I want to see the live animals and everything. And actually, how do you do it? Get out of your bubble. So a lot of times in Omaha musicians, North Omaha, we have a lot of great talent. We cannot be scared to go out and travel, or knowing that the transpose button, that's a whole nother thesis and series. And everybody's listening, they know about the transpose button. They'll say, playing all your keys, because you never know where you wind up at.
Right.
Even if you can't practice, it's okay. I think you said earlier about us arriving, and we haven't arrived. If you think you have arrived, there's someone better than you. Go be uncomfortable. Go to West Omaha.
Yeah.
Go out there and just ask them. Because if I needed a heart and lung, I'm not going to be like, is it Baptist? Is it Kojic? Was it from North Omaha?
Yeah.
I'll be like, it's a match. I take it.
Yes.
So, and that's the thing, he says, but we do. Some of us do travel outside the boundary, and it's great. But invite them to come down.
Yeah.
So my son, professor at UNO, Dr. Matson, he's the professor of the whole music, jazz music at UNO, goes to Christ Community Church. We invited him to our male chorus anniversary service at Mount Calvary. He said that was the first time he's ever been to something like this. And it was fun.
That's
great. That's awesome.
That's dope. You know, it's very important that we bring everything together, like you said, like those two unions married. And it's important for us to marry this gospel together and watch how it can grow. Because, I mean, this state is one of the highest percentage-wise folks who confess Christianity. And for us to kind of separate it and put it in its own category, it's hurting it. But once we have something, and I think it's just having something that could bring it all together, to see it, you know, the beauty of it, and having people like you, Gabe, and others, you know, just be a part of it. And then you hear the voices and you hear things come together and how things are working. I think that's where God can really, truly bless. But, Joe, thank you. Gabe, thank you for coming. It is time for the parking lot praise. I mean, like, the parking lot praise, it's time for people when they're getting ready, they're heading to their worship service. You know, it's getting close to that time where church is, you know, getting ready to get started. So you're in your car.
Oh, yes.
I want y'all to go in there with the joyful noise. I want you to think about Joe Taylor behind the organ at your church, you know, Mount Calvary, right? Mount Calvary?
I'm at Mount Moriah.
I'm sorry.
Born and raised at Mount Calvary.
All right, so
and when I get behind that organ, it's going to be some problems.
It's going to be, you say, I want all the smoke, as the young folks say. I want all the smoke.
It's coming.
We gonna take it there. And then just think of Gabe behind the guitar. But we're going to get your praise on. Just go in, shout.
Can I ask a question? What's your favorite songs?
Oh, man.
To play?
To play?
Yeah.
Now, it all depends. What setting? You talking about just starting some trouble?
Yeah, you starting some trouble.
Blessed by Fred Hammond.
Oh, okay.
Because it says we're blessed in the city, we're blessed in the field, we're blessed when we come and go. We cast down every stronghold. Sickness and poverty must cease, for the devil is defeated. We are blessed because late in the midnight hour, God's going to turn around because he's going to work in your favor, because sometimes in your late hour, you're asking God for your help. And guess what? That's why he's going to turn it around, because now, late in the midnight hour, God's going to turn around because he's going to work in your favor, because that's your time you talk to him.
And around. See, now you got me going. Gabe, see now? See, she done kicked it off, Gabe. Now you got to come up.
Yeah, I think something I was just listening to was Egypt. And that's where I love that chorus of, or maybe it's the bridge. You walked into my Egypt, took me by the hand, led me to the promised land.
Okay.
So wherever you're at, he's there with you.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
So one of these days, if I ever get to come back, I'll talk about church songs that you could actually start an argument with and win. Like My Worship Is For Real by Vashawn Mitchell. I think he had an attitude when he wrote it, but I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, that one, and I think Jonathan McReynolds' People.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think some folks got on his nerves.
Right.
He wrote People, and then he came with No Gray.
Yeah, No Gray.
Yeah.
He's like, them people, boy, they no gray.
I'm just saying.
Black and white.
Deliver me from these people.
Now, the funniest part is I believe they both out of Chicago. But I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, you got a point there.
So I'm gonna drop one last thing on you guys. This is a trivia question. Do anybody know Kirk Franklin before he was Kirk Franklin?
No.
Watch this. Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church in North Omaha invited Kirk Franklin every year to do a workshop before he became Kirk Franklin.
What?
So consecutively before he became Kirk Franklin was in Omaha, Nebraska every year doing a workshop every year in many weather woods.
And now we can't get him to come and drop one of these concerts over here. We got to pay for him to come drop. He don't even want to drop a concert in Omaha. He should come back and give that
because
back.
The GMWA, that's how big Nebraska chapter was or is, because people like Kirk Franklin would show up every year to do 3 or 4 songs, Kirk Franklin, and then all of a sudden we became Kirk Franklin. But that's why we got to take care of the people. We got to show the love because then they remember us. But how do you remember us?
Right.
Are we the memory or the echo? I want to be the echo. I remember. I want to be, there's Joe, there's Joe, there's Joe, there's Joe. So
sounds like a plan to me. And we're going to toss right here to get y'all going right here. Late in the midnight hours. Fred Hammond, we're blessed right here, kicking off the parking lot praise. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Gabe, for coming in, man. We got to get you guys back in here. I love the conversation and just the joy that you guys bring, man. So,
yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's great. So, Fred Hammond right here on Straight Talk. We'll be right back with more. Enjoy the parking lot praise right after this.
Hey, y'all, it's Dr. Tara Jenkins here, also known as Mrs. Awesome. And I want you to know that you're tuned in to Straight Talk with Ricardo Montgomery.
Welcome back to Straight Talk and the parking lot praise going down. But we got that Warrior Minute coming up right here, so I'm going to give it over to the elegant warrior herself, Miss Erica Montgomery.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I just want to share that we are going to be starting Elegant Warrior journal writing in the month of June. We'll be kind of starting all over, so if you've ever missed any quotes and convos that you weren't able to attend, just know that we will be starting over again, and you will be able to find what you're looking for. I also want to tell people that, when we're doing the Elegant Warrior meetups, they are open for any and everybody. So, don't worry about the age because I always feel like, if the writings are maybe a little bit over your head, or you may not, you may think that a child may not be able to understand it. These things are broken down because I feel like, whatever we're going through from the age of 89 to the age of, 7, 10, we all have something that we can learn from one another. So I don't like to, pull back from anyone. Everyone is just open to that opportunity to become an elegant warrior. I also want to say that, when you are writing in your quotes and convos, I want you to remember that my quotes are from me that I'm sharing with you, and your quotes are for you. So don't stress the writing. Just make it make sense to you, and you are only needing to share when you are comfortable and ready. So, one of the quotes that I want to read is about secrets. And it says, there's contentment in secrets. So I want you guys to think about that. We always think secrets aren't a good thing. But, for every situation, someone will have an opinion of how to maneuver it. And opinions aren't necessarily a bad thing. But, and I'm going to leave that as a ... so you guys can kind of fill that in. But that's the kind of stuff that we talk about in the Elegant Warrior. It's just, finding your own voice, finding your own confidence. And so I hope to see you guys at the Elegant Warrior Journal Writings. And just know that Elegant Warrior stands for the fact that you have the strength, you have that warrior spirit, you are fierce, and you are free to overcome anything that you have dealt with in life. And just keep moving forward into whoever you want to be and whatever you want to do. The goal is to live in joy. And also, I want to put a PS in there. Elegant Warrior also sponsors the Craft Center. And those are writings for children. Those are crafts that we do around Omaha. So if you have any little ones, I'm going to welcome you to join our Facebook page, which is called the Craft Center Book. So, all right, you guys, we are going to get back to more music with Straight Talk.
Hey, guys, you're listening to Tasha Cobb Leonard on Straight Talk with Ricardo Montgomery.
Welcome back. As we get ready to wrap up this show, hope y'all enjoyed all the guests that we had on the show and that Warrior Minute there. So just enjoy your Sunday. We're right here. Going to be right back with you next Sunday right here on 95.7 The Boss. It's time for us to get ready to head into church. What you looking for today in service? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I put you on the spot. Yeah. Sure did.
I just want good fellowship. That's what makes my Sundays feel great. Good fellowship in church.
I figure you'd be like, oh, the folks that you enjoy talking to, like, you know, the Sunday.
Yeah, that's my fellowship. Yeah, I got my friends. Yeah, we talk and have a good time.
Stepmama and all that stuff.
Yeah, I got to see my stepmama.
We got nicknames for our church members that we talk about. We got one young lady who comes up to me, and this started last year.
Was it last year or 2 years ago?
Last year on Mother's Day. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Last year on Mother's Day, because Mother's Day just passed. So it was last year. And she came up to me and she said, you better take this pretty thing out, this pretty young lady out to get her something to eat or something.
She said I was dressed real cute, so, he had to take me out, show me off.
And said, and you better do it, because I'm stepmama.
And I said so.
And I said so. And ever since then, we've been calling her stepmama.
And yeah, every now and then I'll remember her name, but I'm just so used to saying stepmama. Mm-hmm. That's my stepmama.
So we enjoy our church, and I hope you all enjoying your church. And if you're looking for a church, please go to a Bible-based church. There's so many different churches around, whether you want to be in North Omaha, West Omaha, South Omaha, or in the downtown or midtown areas. Just go and enjoy. There's so many pastors that we know, and there's so many different events going on. Salem Baptist is having their event coming up soon, so you can go to their Facebook page. Also, they're having movies in the lobby at Life Church, watch Elkhorn. So all of those things are coming up right here in the month of June. So we're going to keep giving you all the information that we can. You can go find them all on their Facebook pages all over the place. And don't forget to go by Divine Truth. If you want the book by Sarah Jake Roberts, they have it there. If you want the Tasha Cobb Leonard book that she just wrote, they have it out there also. So whatever you need, all the places that supporting us has it. If you need your T-shirts done for family reunions or vacation Bible schools, go see my friends over at Ink Images. And we do like us, because we like to go there and hang out with our friends. Get a couple of pieces of rib, some mac and cheese, all that stuff. Go by there and see our friends over at the Rib Shack Smokehouse. Until next week, I'm Ricardo.
And I am Erica.
And we shout you out. Soraya will say something to you next week. We'll be. Oh, boy. I'm sure she's dying to be on the radio.
So do we end this as, and we are the Montgomerys?
No, we end this as this is Straight Talk on 95.7 The Boss. We'll see y'all next Sunday. Peace.
Come on, relax and just enjoy the show. We got you here on Straight Talk. Don't be lying, yes, you already know. We got you here on Straight Talk, yeah. We got you grooving. Let us know how you doing. We keep it live right here on Straight Talk. Ricardo Montgomery.
Thanks for listening to the Straight Talk Podcast with your boy, Ricardo Montgomery, a.k.a. the voice of gospel radio. Looking for the next show? Don't worry, it's coming up right now.